Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I'm pretty sure that you saw pictures from Gaza with the destruction of entire neighborhoods, entire buildings. Mosques, I think, were destroyed or attacked. That church, a hospital. We don't know who did it, right? Well, what do you think? Now, I have this question. We have around 2,000 Palestinian children dead, according to a source. Who killed those children? Were they all killed by Hamas? Is Hamas responsible for all those nearly 2,000 Palestinian children's death? Is it possible to be all of them those guys' fault? Well, if you speak with Dershowitz, he would say yes. And people like him. I made a video maybe about a week ago, maybe more than a week ago, using a video between Dershowitz, a conversation at Idiot Hannity, where he had Dershowitz and he had that communist black candidate for presidency, what's his name? Cornell, Dr. Cornell. And you can see how Dershowitz sees things. So that's why I'm saying it's all or nothing. We never did anything wrong. Everything else is your fault kind of mentality. So I have this article coming from UPI, and I checked to see if UPI is an extremist news organization, is affiliated with Hamas or Hezbollah or Putin himself or something bad, or with, I don't know, North Korea, China. No, it's not. So I'm saying it's kind of like credible source. And it says death toll in Palestine rises to 4,651. You can ask, what's Palestine? I'm guessing they talk about Gaza. If you don't like this kind of, but doesn't really matter, the area. Okay, it's people, Palestinians. With nearly 2,000 Palestinian children dead. That's bad. Do you remember when the Russians, according to Ukrainians and some other people, said they killed children? Absolutely condemned. Correct? Correct. But they said it was the Russians. Why? Because they bombarded the Ukrainians, right? Well, here you know that the Israelis are bombarding Gaza. So who killed those people? If it wasn't the bombardment, then it was people in Gaza. Okay, why don't we use the same logic in Ukraine? If it was not the Russians who bombarded, it was the Ukrainians killing their people. Do you understand how idiotic that is? Not, I would say impossible. I was about to say not impossible. I think it's impossible. Because if you think that launching at least 6,000 missiles, rockets, shells, 6,000, that was about a week ago, Israeli, bombarded. Do you think that there was no collateral damage whatsoever in those 6,000, as I said, a week ago? I don't know how much it ran now, I don't know. But it's thousands. Do you think that, and you saw those neighborhood flattened, do you think that was a Hamas? All of it? I mean, let's don't get full retarded here, okay? Now, just a disclaimer for people who think below 86 IQ. I care as much for the Israelis' losses and civilians and people in general, okay? I'm just reporting this because I would like to show you the double standard in Ukraine, Russia, in Palestine, or Gaza, Israel, and I don't like that. I think if you are unfair, unjust, a liar, a son of a bitch, that should be exposed. Regardless who you are, regardless if you're a guy that you liked or you like, you should, as Aristotle said at one point when he was asked a question regarding Plato's philosophy or some kind of issue. They were debating and said, hey, but Plato said that. Like Aristotle was supposed to say, oh, if Plato said that, then I should shut the fuck up. And Aristotle said, yes, my friend, Plato is my friend. I love Plato, but I love the truth even more. The same here. I might like certain people, but if they are doing some bad stuff, I have to say it. And the other side is told by the corporate mass media every day, so I can't compete with them, showing the other side. So Israeli Defense Forces have so far, according to these guys, right, killed at least 4,651, not 52, 51 Palestinians, and wounded more than 14,245 in retaliation, self-defense they call it, for the attack by Hamas that killed about 1,400 Israelis earlier this month. Crazy stuff. Both sides. The Palestinian Health Ministry, are they lying? Now, if you ask Dershowitz, he will say yes. Said in a statement that the dead included 1,871 children. Now, you think that no children died? Or all the children that were killed were due to Hamas? They came and killed them. 1,023 women and 187 elderly people. Most of the deaths are in Palestine's Gaza, home to Hamas, though dozens have also been reported dead in Palestine's West Bank. Self-defense allows you to do that. In addition, data provided by the United Nations show that Israeli forces killed 227 Palestinians this year before Hamas offensive, while I don't want to say just, but it's what I'm reading, 29 Israeli had been slain by Palestinian attackers before the attack. So these guys can't really live together over there. So what are you going to do? How are you going to separate them? You can't tell me you're going to eliminate one side. You can't tell me you're going to just send them to Sinai Peninsula, or Sinai, in Egypt. You can't tell me that. So they have to live next to another. What are you going to do? Well, you have to enforce something, right? And you can't leave the Israelis control that. Because for the past how many years? Decades, we had this enforcement, peace process, and got us to this. Something is not right. Anyway, so I was looking to see who are these UPI, right? UPI, so I went over here, United Press International. And I'm trying to hear extremists. It says United Press International is an American international news agency whose newswire, photo, news, film, and audio services provided news material to thousands of newspapers, magazines, radio, and television stations for more than most of the 20th century. At its peak, it had more than 6,000 media subscribers since the first of several sales of staff cutbacks in 1982. Blah, blah, blah. So, these guys are not extremists and are not tards. Got it? Founded in 1907. So, I think using them here builds a little bit of trust that these guys are not really, as I said at the beginning of this video. So, do you think that out of those almost 2,000 children, all right, none of them were killed by those missiles, incoming missiles? Well, if you think so, I think you're dangerous. Why? Because if you think that way, I hope you're not far, or you're not close to any point of power or decision maker that making point or position that would affect other people. I don't think. But anyway, we'll see. This is it, my friends. My point is this thing should stop. The problem is we have some that don't want this thing to stop. And I'm not talking about the Israelis. I understand their rage. They are very upset. But history did not start in October 7th, 2023. Again, if you think it started only then, remember what I said about a minute ago. You should not be close to any position of power or distribute justice on this planet. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.